Hello, 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 Briva78 back with part 2 of my modern farmhouse build. And if you remember at the end of the last one, we had most of the exterior sort of sorted out. The walls were all up, roof is on, and I've chosen the exterior walls. Though I had chosen a brick for this little portion of the garage that sticks out here as that kind of darker change in texture and just color, contrasting color. But I guess when I was putting on the brick for the rest of the house, it got taken away. So this is where I was trying to kind of rethink how to do it. And this is me trying to get really creative with building like a garage door. I do tend to use a lot of panels and then these smaller windows for garage doors. Like this doesn't even look that bad. That could pass as a garage door. But I do spend a lot of time going through these different panels and trying to find the right look to go with the look of the house. And this, I just couldn't seem to find it. It's definitely a long process when making a garage. If only we had garages or cars in The Sims. EA, if you're listening, as if they hadn't heard that 100 million times from the Sims community. I do like this one here, this sort of blank one. Quite often I'll use that one. There's a lot of the ones that I usually use that just I wasn't feeling for this particular build. Like even that one, usually I can get away with, but it just, I don't know if maybe this is what I went with in the end. Honestly, it's been so long since I did this that I can't remember. It's not bad. I mean, yeah, don't hate it. Don't hate it. Speaking of how long it's been since I recorded these, if you didn't watch the first episode, you should definitely check it out. But for those who didn't watch it, I pointed out in that episode that I had recorded this originally back in February of 2020. And then, of course, pandemic hit and my life got a little insane. So, as with, I'm sure, many people's. So I did not continue with the idea of creating this particular channel. So that's a point to make as well, that my logo that I currently have is a sim that was modeled after myself. And that's more of what I looked like pre-pandemic. I had just short hair. I had just actually, bleached it for the first time in many, many moons. It is very long now. I have not cut my hair since this pandemic began. So I'm definitely going to have to change my avatar. Either I'm going to have to change my avatar when I'm finished this series of build videos, or I'm going to have to cut my hair and color it again. And I'm not opposed to finally going back to getting my hair cut. Where I am, they're starting to, consider reopening, so I might have to do that. So here I am putting in a bunch more videos, windows. I do really like the look of the lighter colored siding, or in this case, brick, with that dark trimmed window. A lot of my builds end up looking like that. My house looks like that in real life. I do really like that kind of look, and it's very popular, it seems, nowadays on the new builds. Oh yay, I noted in the last video that I'd missed a roof there, so yeah, yay. So that's fixed. I also noted that I really, really like these paneled sort of window boxes. This one being slightly off center. I don't love that, but we do what we can. So this part here is the larger sort of three-car garage, which I have to be creative with what I put in when this is all said and done. So there's the house. As completed. Outside totally done. All the windows in there. There's quite a lot I wanted to put into the backyard based on the picture that came with the plan, so I needed to really push that right as close to the front as I could get away with and leave as much property in the back as I could so that I could actually build out this pool and the different patios and levels. This is always the next step I do when I'm building houses. It's just to go through. So I've got all the windows on. Now I need to just go put on all the doors. It's just like these little steps that you need to go through when you're building these out. Like tedious, but you gotta do it. I'm not really 100% sure what I was doing there, to be honest with you. Oh, I think I was considering maybe just opening it up and just having, yeah, so I ended up doing an arch, but I think I was considering just opening up the walls a bit there and not having an actual door, but more of an archway. But yeah, I went with that arch. That's kind of the and then you get that lovely issue that you get with the ceilings if the wall next to it is not got a second level wall. You end up with that ceiling sort of look. And I think with this brick you can get away with it and you can kind of make that a feature wall, but I don't really remember what I did. I guess we'll find out. It's going to be as exciting for me as anyone else as I remember what I did here. Yeah, so that's like the the living room area when you first walk into the front door, which is off to the side there. That would be kind of your great room, and then opened it up with a beam across it. I do like to use these beams a bit too I like to have that beamed look on the ceiling, so I'll quite often use those beams for that. And you just have rooms full of walls until you get through it. And this is that's into the master bedroom. I'll quite often put like a double door like that because I do find there isn't double doors that match the singular doors, but like I wanted it to be similar to how the single doors are. And I will note too, at this point when I built this, the Alt key moving the doors and windows around didn't function the same way as it does now. That was an update since this build was made. Yeah, so this area here is an office. So again, I just wanted to kind of keep it open to the rest of the space and not actually block it off with a closed door. This whole space, this great room where it's kitchen, dining room, living room, and then it has that opening over to this quite sizable office. I really like the way this turned out. It's a really nice plan. Here I am like going all over the place trying to tweak those final tweaks of how the windows and doors and everything look. And then I'm finally going to get into a little bit of sort of decorating the inside here. So give ourselves a nice... I love this. I love actually putting like the little details like the chimney on the actual roof. Like these little details, I always forget they're here, but they can really just give it that nice realistic touch when you include those pieces. Yeah. So now I'm trying to kind of put a little bit of that. I talked about it in the first episode, is the fact that you can't, if you want to have a garage on your house, you can't put a foundation. At least then we could play around with platforms now where we, not necessarily a foundation, but have a platform for a front porch. At the time, to have a front porch, we would have to actually play with the tools, the train tools like I'm doing here, because you could not lift it up. Otherwise, you've got this foundation, and this garage has a foundation, which is silly. Obviously, you're not going to have a garage with a foundation. It's not going to be great for your tires. So I had to really play around with the foundation here, or not the foundation, the train tools, because I had to make that really steep drop down in order to put those stairs in there. I then tried to like sort of flatten out everything above so that we could put a driveway in, but then also sort of soften out this edge here so it's not such a hard, steep edge right there. So to just be a little bit creative. I don't typically use a lot of train tools because I find I always make a huge mess of them. So this was, yeah, when I do have to use them, it frustrates me to no end. But I think in the end, when we see the final results, I don't think it's too bad. Basically, someone would have to kind of do a little walk down to do a walk up, but it's not too bad. And so this is another thing here. So I was trying to basically plot out where the driveway would be so that I could put down the flooring tiles. But I forgot that like with Sims 4, in previous Sims games, you used to be able to kind of put down a fence as like a wall, quote unquote, to then use as like a marker for your flooring. But in the newer Sims, you can't quite do that. It also doesn't help that there was some uneven terrain. But the other thing is I did not realize that you could make quarter tiles doing by hand with the Sims, with the Sims tiles until like literally this week. And I'm going to look that up so that I tell people how to do it, because that was a bit of a game changer. Yeah, so there is a hotkey kind of thing that you need to click in order to do this. So I believe it's Control F. So if you use Control F while you're trying to lay a tile in The Sims, it will give you the option for a quarter tile instead of a full tile. Would have been great to know. I don't know where that was hidden, but it seems that people knew about it well back in 2010, and I didn't know. But obviously that wasn't Sims 4 at the time. But yeah, there is a hotkey to be able to do that. Yeah, Control F seems to still work with The Sims 4, even though that was a previous Sims that I was looking at before. I mean, there's lots of videos on it. Apparently, I just didn't look hard enough. I gave up too soon. So this is where I'm starting to do that backyard leveling with the pool and the patio and all that. There's also quite a lot of garden like boxes, I guess. It's like flower boxes back here, so I was also working on that. So you can see that basically the sunken area for the pool, there's sort of stairs all down to that. Again, something I'd really love to play around with platforms with this. So this is one of the boxes that I wanted to do, but then when I made a copy, it did not go so well. I was struggling a little bit here because when I was trying to make the box, it was landing too high. And then when I was trying to resize the box on the right level, it was basically destroying all my stairs, as you can see here. It was a lot of fiddling to get this right. So that just destroyed everything. And this one is still a little bit higher, but it at least kind of makes a bit more sense where it is. And this was weird. I couldn't seem to get it to go back into that one. And then when I made that box bigger, it looked silly because that box was bigger than the other box. So it was a lot of back and forth. This is a second, or I guess a third box that I put back here. Yeah, I'm just trying to flatten out wherever I could so it wasn't so much like crazy up and down terrain. And then this is me trying to trying to figure out what the best like wall would be for these boxes that I made. So you can see the terrain is still a little bit wonky down here, but it works. We're gonna make it a pool anyways, so we'll live with it. I was flipping around between all the different stone looks, because that's really what I wanted, kind of like a stone. Yeah, so I was putting in stone wall in the search there. Yeah, I like this one because I like the way it worked with the sort of the top of the half wall had that black trim, and then the bottom of this particular wall had a trim as well, so I thought it really worked well together. So now we put the pool down. Now I'm about to run into the problem of the fact that the terrain where that pool is so uneven that tiles will not properly lay down there. So I had to kind of work around that. So I did try a couple of different things. I don't know what I was thinking with this white tile. Now that I look at it, I'm like, what was this? This is a terrible choice for outdoors. Can you imagine trying to clean that all the time? Like, it would just always be just a disaster. It'd be so gross. I mean, not that I'm usually out there sort of scrubbing my outdoor tile, but I just think like a slick tile like that outside, you'd slip and be on your, rear very fast and very frequently. And B, I just feel like it would get really like just slimy all the time. So you would have to be out there constantly like hosing it down. So then I use the terrain tool instead, the sort of paint terrain tool, which works really well because then no matter what the terrain is, it'll work. And I almost think that's why they put them in there. So if you are unaware of how to move things up and down in The Sims, which is something that I wasn't sure of, basically you have to have move objects on. So you have to testing cheat enable, bb.move objects on, and then you can use the 9 and 0 keys to move objects up and down. It's a very helpful tool when you're playing around with things like this. Like I wanted to make this kind of dynamic looking sort of flower box with different types of flowers in there. And I mean, you really need to have BB move objects on for this anyways, because if you don't have move objects on at this point, it's not going to let you put those plants just anywhere you want, because plants typically you have to have them kind of on the grass, or at least on the terrain, and you can't have anything in the way. But this you can kind of overlay and have things on top of each other. And then you can use that Alt key, holding onto that Alt key, to move things so they don't snap into the specific grid system. I do find that some things are much harder to use the Alt and the 9 and 0 for, and that's usually like clutter related. Those can be really tricky when you're trying to get the clutter to sit on like a table or a counter that is at a different height. Maybe you've sized them up or down. And this I was trying to make it more have like different things on either side, but a lot of them were like too wide because this is only one tile wide. So a lot of these are too wide to actually fit in there. I could have sized them down, but I do find that the plants, I don't always love the way they size up and down. And if you're unaware of how to size things up and down, if you use the square brackets on your keyboard, you can size things up and down. I use that a lot. A lot. Particularly on rugs. I never like the size of rugs, of how EA makes them. I don't know why, but they just don't appeal to me. I always end up making them either way bigger or way smaller. And I would say probably side tables would be the other thing that I size up and down pretty frequently. More down than up, as a lot of you probably know. Bedside tables, very large in this game. Scale is completely off. So at this point, I'm actually finally going to start looking at the inside, the interior, and doing walls and floors in here. Of course, what's the first thing that you gotta do when you're playing The Sims is give yourself some light inside. I noticed in the last video, and I apologize for this, that the lighting when I was working on the stairs was atrocious because I didn't think about that when I was building that set of stairs. I was so focused on the stairs I forgot to actually put some lighting in so that people could see it. Things that I have learned. Things I will never do again. Alright, this is one thing you'll learn from me. My favorite color painted walls is always going to be a light gray. It's just so clean. I mean, obviously it's going to depend on the room. There's going to be other rooms where I'm going to do something different, but in a lot of the common spaces, I do like a light gray. Oh, there you go. There I am sizing up that rug. Surprise, there's a rug and I'm sizing it. Oh yeah, I really struggled with the rug that I wanted to put in here. I don't know why. It took me quite some time to come up with the right thing. And no, this is bad. I don't love this rug in here. Also, I love an area rug that is so big it takes up the entire room. Oh, one thing to note that is if you do size things up, it can be tricky to pick them up afterwards because you have to make sure that you pick them up kind of in one of the squares that it was originally in or like close to the center. Okay, I don't know why I did this, but it really irritates me that the rug is under the fireplace. That is a serious fire hazard. I'm trying to get some Sims in trouble here. I really like this flooring. It's very rustic looking. It looks so good. And it's from the, I believe it's from the, oh my gosh, the exploring one. I can't even remember pack names right now. Oh, and to that point, I will note that last episode I was talking about how I didn't think that Tiny Living was out yet when I did this build. It was out. It had just come out, and you'll see a bunch of Tiny Living items, at least in the gallery at the bottom with all the items. So here I am putting light gray everywhere. I know. It's my favorite. Just looks clean and open and beautiful. Feel like I changed this for some rooms at some point. And finally gonna get to start decorating. Yay! Oh, I just keep thinking about all the amazing items in the newer packs. Like here I want to put like a square, like a big square coffee table, but I really didn't like my choices at the time. I mean, this one's okay, but there's so many good ones in the new packs. Yeah, so you can see some Tiny Living couches in here, and I'm actually not sure why I didn't go with the Tiny Living couches here because maybe they're too sort of Scandinavian looking. I don't know what my thought was there, but because I like those Tiny Living couches. Go with that. Those are nice couches. I don't know why I changed my mind on that. I do feel that this particular section of the house went through quite a few iterations before it was finalized. I feel like I could not come up with a final answer on this one for sure. Yeah, there's the Murphy beds there. Definitely, Tiny Living was definitely in our life at this point. Oh, see, I've already taken the coffee table away. And I don't know what I was thinking with this couch. It's a very mix match situation going on here right now. I can feel my own exasperation. There I am using the Alt key to really tweak the items. And I'm back trying to find that coffee table. Find the right thing. Yeah, and sorry, I had some custom content in here that it was frustrating me because I didn't want to use custom content because I wanted to put this on the gallery, but I forgot to actually just turn it off from the main menu. So I keep basically filtering it out. Now I'm trying to find an accent table for the back of that couch. This is just a real mix match of items. I don't know. I don't mind the colors of that. Like, I obviously like a teal. Don't mind it. But see, like at the woods, they don't match. Like it never seems to match. Like, gotta put a nice little set of lemons there. Some magazines. Extend those roofs. Oh god, I can just think of all the uses we could use for platforms here that could be so great. If only I had them at the time. This is gonna need a remodel. It's like in real life when 10 years down the road you realize that what you have is so dated. It's time to start again. In the Sims world, it's 16 months. And so I think this is where we actually end this particular episode. So we just got started with our decorations, decorating inside the house. So our next episode, episode 3, we're going to look at a lot more decoration and interior design. Again, something I really wish we had interior or dream home decorator for, but that's a problem for later down the road once we get through these videos. So I hope you enjoyed episode 2, and I will see you next time for episode 3 when we do some more decorating. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Goodbye!